Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Knox. My name is Michael Mansour. I'm joined as always by my soon-to-be reunited co-host Alexander Volz. Say hello.
Hello.
This is Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That is a new discography for the most part, every episode. And today we are discussing
The band Suicide.
not the topic, although maybe by the end of the episode we'll get there. Before we
We're going to get there.
Oh, for sure.
Beginning.
Immediately. Before we get into anything, I highly encourage you to follow me on Instagram at PopJesseVentura and Alex at
Mother Puncture.
We will be posting the artists we're currently listening to. So if you want to be a part, send emails, send your best, worst, favorite albums of that artist, whatever. You can send your emails or whatever to everyalbumever@gmail.com. And if you want to suggest an artist for us to cover, you can also email your suggestions there. End of the episode or now, if you want to just skip all this bullshit and listen to our favorite Suicide songs, there should be a Spotify playlist in the description of wherever you're listening or watching. We do this for every episode. So if you want to go back in the archives, listen to what we feel are these bands' awesomest songs or whatever the hell. Everyalbumever.com. Follow Alex directly on Spotify if you just want to cut out the middleman entirely. It's all fun stuff. And of course, YouTube, subscribe, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know the drill. Who cares? We're going to talk now. Suicide. This was suggested to us by Cyrus. Thank you, Cyrus, for the suggestion. I had not only forgotten about this band, but didn't even realize that it is the perfect band for this podcast. It's such a wild band, like musically they're wild, but I mean the history of this band, how important they are, what they influence, what happened with them is such a fascinating fucking story. I want to talk about this band a lot. They are, I'm gonna say initially, if you're a casual music listener, you will not like Suicide. I'm gonna say that, I think, boldly.
Yeah. This is the worst band for me to listen to right now when anxiety is running high in the middle of a move in quarantine. It was rough.
Mm-hmm. It's intense.
Not really for me.
I had a feeling.
There's some gems. I had
a feeling.
We're gonna sift through.
We are definitely. I had a feeling they would not be an Alex band, and really, they're not really a Mike band. But I was very surprised at how much I did like a lot, because it's okay. So Suicide, they're a duo, electronic. They help pioneer electronic, industrial, noise, experimental stuff. They help pioneer all these things that they didn't really sound like down. Like, I mean, I guess they kind of have dance elements, and they're kind of dancey, but it's a weird thing because the music sounds nothing like what their existence was or what they're known for, what their shows were like, the lyrical themes.
I'm going to throw out a lot of descriptors here, but to me, it's like if you took like Kraftwerk, Velvet Underground, Nick Cave, the character Steve Brule, someone with low, and then Lowrider Oldies and John Carpenter, and you just stirred all those things together.
That is the most bitter and disturbing stew I've imagined in recent memory. Good God Almighty. They are also kind of credited, like semi-credited with coining the term punk music. Like that's a pretty huge deal, considering they sound nothing like any punk band.
I mean, for the first 10, 15 years of their career, their shows would end in violence. And what's more punk rock than that?
Not a damn thing.
They earned it.
They fucking earned it. Literally ending in riots. And there was a lot of bands that were known for just riots. Like I think Reagan Youth was another band that every show ended in a riot. Another really not properly documented band is Reagan Youth. But Suicide, ahead of their time is usually spoken of as a compliment, retrospectively or years after the band. But these guys were ahead of their time in a way that was extremely dangerous for them. And like, it's not that they were musical geniuses or they were doing this crazy, thing that will live on for centuries, like a Beethoven or something like that. It's just that it so didn't exist that people reacted with violence when they heard it because it was so like, what the fuck is this? Get the fuck off the stage now. Like they were just mad at these guys.
Yeah, at the time, there's nothing anyone could latch onto. And I found an interview that Noisy did with them, and I was surprised how sharp these dudes were.
Very sharp.
In their advanced age. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about the evolution of music and kind of how economically for two guys this makes a lot of sense what they did. And then on top of that, they heard disco and thought it was kind of corny, but they're like, that's the future, what disco is doing. And then they talked about like, and then from disco you get hip hop, and it was like, wow. So I feel like a lot of artists, they get into what they get into and they create a bubble. But hearing them talk about that, I was like, wow, these guys are still paying attention to new music and how it changes, and they can very much link things to each other. And I was really impressed by that.
That's one thing, because like these guys are bona fide artists. You can definitely make a real and substantive argument that they're not talented musically, especially the singer Alan Vega. Completely get that argument. I'm going to make that argument that he's not a singer for damn sure. But boy, are they smart. They're really inventive. They're bold and they're very brave. Not to reference an old Batman cartoon, but it's just, man, their entire approach to being musicians is so much something that I admire, and I just became fucking huge fans the more I read about them, and the more like I think it's better to mention it earlier than later. It's like, I think it's every person's duty, if you're at all into punk, to listen to 23 Minutes Over Brussels. I don't know if you listened to it or if you read about that.
I did not.
That is a infamous recording of a Suicide show where they opened for The Clash in mostly Elvis Costello. I think it was I'm already fucking forgetting it. Let me look at the year. It says June 16th, 1978 in Brussels. And it was, they're playing, songs off their first album, and it was 23 minutes, and it's called 23 Minutes over Brussels because it was 23 minutes before they were forced to leave the stage because of how fucking gnarly it got. And it's all documented. And, you hear the reaction, like people are booing them before they even get on stage, and just because of the way they look. So already you're not dealing with a good crowd. And then they play their first song, and you're hearing like a mix of like really enthusiastic, like, fuck yeah, dude, like really enthusiastic applause and whistles, because it's like so weird. And then the most hardcore boos you could ever imagine. And then as the show keeps going on, the boos get more and more intense until someone steals Alan's mic. And then the whole crowd erupts into like cheering, like, yeah, fuck these guys. And then you hear like the manager saying, the show will not go on if you don't give us back the mic. And then you hear Alan saying, we're just poor musicians like you guys, man. Please give us back the mic. And it was like, it's really heartbreaking. And
oh man,
it's fucking
should have been on the list. I would have listened to this.
It was, I didn't know about it until last night, honestly. When I started really like reading, I went crazy last night reading interviews and stuff. And it was like, it was really devastating. And then you hear him getting more and more angry, like, fuck you guys, man. Fuck you guys. Like, we're just trying to do our thing. Like, fuck you. And you hear the people in the audience, like, give him back the mic, dude. What the fuck? And then you hear other people just booing like crazy. And then they go into a song off the first album, which we will absolutely talk about, which is a very lengthy and disturbing song. And he gets a replacement mic and he starts singing the song a cappella. He's like, fuck you guys. I'm just going to fuck the music. Well, I'm just going to start singing this by myself. The crowd is booing uncontrollably, and then the video ends with Alan Vega screaming, "Shut the fuck up! This is about Frankie!" Losing his mind and walking off stage, and then it ends. Like, it's the most fucked up, sad thing. Like, and I don't know if it was Martin Rev, the instrumentalist, or Alan who said this, but they said that was just one. There were plenty others like that and worse that we ended up covered in spit by the end of the night. Every show ended up right. That show, the 23 Minutes Over Brussels show, when Elvis Costello went on stage, because at certain points during the recording, you hear them chanting Elvis, Elvis, Elvis. He goes on stage and he's pretty angry about how they treated him. He was like fucking livid. He didn't do an encore. The cops ended up coming, tear gassing the place. It was a full on riot. It was a full on fucking riot.
Holy shit!
And I think I may be mistaken, but I think I read that following that, Elvis asked Alan, can you give me another riot? And he's like, I'll give you another riot. Like, just because of that, like, fuck these people. Let's just fuck them up all over again. Like,
nice.
So I have a lot of respect for Elvis Costello for that, like, for sure. But that's what these dudes went through just to be one of the earliest electronic bands in the punk scene. One of their earliest punk bands, to be that different was met with that much hostility. It's just fucking disappointing in humanity, honestly.
It's totally a Rites of Spring situation.
It is.
Where it's not like the music is that, it's not really that insane. It's just when people don't have things to latch onto, they go crazy. Going off topic a little bit, because I feel like they're also unofficially from East LA. Alan Vega, Martin Rev sounds like two guys from East LA.
It does.
A lot of stuff they do, I could see that shitty group Prayers loving this, and Prayers very much two-man electronic operations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, yeah, to this day, people are doing the suicide thing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how much it inspired. And here's my favorite thing, my favorite fun fact that I accidentally stumbled upon about this band, and then nothing in this podcast history will top this for me, is fucking Bruce Springsteen covering a Suicide song because he's such a huge fan of theirs. I think he even wrote out a eulogy after Alan Vega died a couple of years ago. Like, The Boss is a Suicide? Like, what the
oh yeah,
holy shit, man, these guys really had some reach.
He loved their first album. We're getting a little bit ahead, but whatever, it's just more time to talk about the music. When they did their second album, they were recording next door to him, and that's when they like became friends. And I don't know how long he did it, or if he still does it, but he closes out his concerts with Dream Baby Dream. Yeah. And he was almost like, I guess it went down to the wire. He was trying to perform that song at the Super Bowl. Like, he almost did Dream Baby Dream at the Super Bowl.
That would have been fucking crazy. Oh my God.
That would have been insane.
And like, for people who haven't heard Suicide before, when we start to play the music, you're going to be very fucking confused by all this. Cause like, we're talking about how influential it is, but it is fucking kind of aged a little bit.
The way Vega phrases and sings, I could totally hear why Bruce Springsteen liked it. Obviously,
Dream Baby, Dream Baby. Yeah,
it's like, if you just change the way the music's presented, a few of these songs are obviously Bruce Springsteen songs, or like, it's a no-brainer for him to cover Dream Baby Dream.
So crazy. I don't want to forget anything before we jump into each album, but maybe the backstory, how they met, how they formed.
So there's two guys from New York. I didn't find how they met. I don't know if you did, but I found kind of how they, Martin Rev tells this story about purchasing his first drum machine from an elderly couple. And they were like, this used to belong to her daughter. She would do poetry over the drum machine, but she committed suicide. And I don't know if that's why they're called Suicide, but he's just like, it's so crazy that someone I didn't even know was thinking the same way I was thinking, that we could use this machine to do something totally different. But unfortunately, she, killed herself for whatever reason. And that's just a pretty wild.
That's fucking crazy.
Wild story.
Yeah. That's actually, man, that's really upsetting. Like, fucking, it kind of, I mean, it puts a lot of things into perspective. Like, this is a really weird band that I don't feel like a lot of people are going to enjoy listening to. But god damn, there's something about them that's really, the oddness and like, there will be this, we'll talk about the song specifically, but it's like, it's not on the surface morbid or dark or creepy, but it really kind of is. Like, it's just something really twisted about all their music. And then obviously the lyrical themes just kind of add to it. It's fucked up. We're going to talk about it. Let's dive into it. So Suicide put out 5 years over the course of the career, very spaced out, not consistent. First album was released in 1977. The last one was released in 2002. But let us begin. This is the first album, 1977, self-titled, Suicide.
Rider, motorcycle hero.
Little fun fact about this song. Oh, go ahead.
This is real frustrating because you think it's gonna go into like fourth gear, but it's just forever in 3 and 2 second gear.
I would say a lot of their songs are like that.
Yeah, this is as hyped up as it gets.
Pretty much. I do, man. Those synths though, I like them a lot. It has that really vintage quality to them. It's so fun.
It's a cool synth line.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get why MIA sampled this and just put like guitars and drums over it. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'm sure Suicide fans think that like probably ruins the song, but whatever.
Well, another fun fact about this song, called Ghost Rider. I first heard it because Rollins band covered it, like on, I think it was like an outtake for one of my, I think is one of the better Rollins band albums, and I hated it because it's just like a regular rock and roll thing. But this version, I was like, oh yeah, I like this version a lot. I actually do like that song quite a bit. This is the album that people go to.
Yeah, I didn't watch the interview, but I saw there's like a Henry Rollins interview about Suicide. Mm-hmm. And these days, there's a joke in the metal community. What does Corey Taylor think? But before Corey Taylor, really, it was, what does Henry Rollins think?
I don't know that Corey Taylor thing. I'm not a huge Slipknot guy, so I don't.
Oh, it's just like any topic in metal, like you'll see, like even if it has nothing to do with Slipknot.
Oh, it's just being memed.
Section,
yeah.
We'll just be like, but what does Corey Taylor think? So, Henry Rollins.
He's the original. Yeah.
Got opinions about everything, and he's great.
Well, one thing I love about Henry Rollins, before we move on from him real quick, I disagree with so much of his musical opinion, but I respect the fuck out of it so much because I think years ago, early 2000s, maybe 2005 or something, he was on Carson Daly's show and he plugged Deerhoof on Carson Daly's show, which I thought was like
nice.
God bless you, dude. God fucking bless you. But yeah, this is the album that everyone goes to. This is the album that kind of was blew everyone's fucking mind. I can hear immediately all the stuff that this influenced. The one thing that sticks out like a sore fucking thumb to me is Rocket USA, because it sounds just like Youth of America from Wipers, episode 22.
Yeah.
Like even the vocals and the woo, like all those woos and stuff. Greg Sage totally lifted those from these guys.
I'm gonna catch some flack for this, but I think this is one of the most overrated albums we've listened to.
Oh, God damn it, Alex. Oh, God damn
I
it.
can hear, like, I get it, but I also don't like it. If that's, I'm gonna die on that hill. I get it. I don't like it.
I don't blame you not liking it. I'm not surprised by you not liking it. I think this is an extremely niche record, especially for our standards today, like or our taste today and what's happened since this came out. Let's just say the writing on here is extremely minimal. It's mostly like 3 notes or 2 notes sometimes 4, and then it's repetitive. It has a very that kind of bass drum, kick drum, just a thumping for like every song. It's that. And
I will say, having listened to their whole discography, at least there's something endearing and interesting about this album, though.
Very endearing,
like,
yeah.
I don't think it's boring, but
there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it that is aged horrendously. But I'm saying, like, but it's super minimal, and the reason why it was so fucking wild is because it's this crazy duo with synthesizers, and the singer is not singer Alan Vega, which you mentioned a few times. Hold on, let me fix the camera. He's not a singer. He's not a good singer. He's pretty abysmal vocals. And on this album, he's mostly like breathy speak singing. He's not even doing anything. Mm-hmm. He's doing some woos, like some shouts. And then on one track, he does a lot of screaming, which is actually kind of upsetting. It works for the song. It's kind of disturbing. But for the most part, just like a lot of that. A lot of really breathy, kind of herky jerky, just speaking loudly kind of thing. It's not great.
I mean, they could have been like the American Kraftwerk, but another thing, and I wrote that down before I watched the interview, is they pointed out, obviously, like, Europe didn't like them either, but Europe caught on faster
as they do.
The US.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, if Kraftwerk was in America, like, they wouldn't be shit.
Oh, like, nothing. Yeah. But the difference between Kraftwerk episode 40 is that they were really musically gifted. I feel like these guys are fine, and Alan Vega is mostly an amazing frontman. He's not a good singer. And then Martin Rev, like, he's doing some interesting stuff, but they're not like writing, they're not like composing here. These are just like really simplistic. Like for example, the song Johnny, if this song was played with guitars and like a regular acoustic drum set, I would fucking hate it. I would absolutely hate it. But like this, with all these synthesizers, I love it. And I'm gonna put on a little bit of Johnny just because this is what we're in for. This is like, it's cheesy. It's actually kind of funny. It's weird. But that's just a rock and roll riff. Yeah.
Also, another artist I thought of that's really obscure is Wesley Willis.
I thought of that too. I thought of Wesley Willis as well. Yeah. Although,
except Wesley Willis has some sort of mental deficiency where
he is a schizophrenic.
Martin Rev does it.
Yeah. Well, also Wesley Willis didn't write those songs. They're just presets on a keyboard. Like, he just literally those come with the keyboard. If you haven't heard Wesley Willis, oh boy, he has a massive discography of literally the same song. Not a joke. Literally the same song with different lyrics. I think it's like a variation of like 2 different songs over his entire massive discography. He was literally mentally ill, and like, he didn't play. He was just it was literally it comes with the keyboard. You just press a button and it plays the song. But it reminded me of that. These songs kind of reminded me of that because it's very Casio sounding, very, very primitive synths, and extremely dated. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Last thing about Wesley is, obviously, like, Jello is a fan of Suicide. There's no way he's not. So I could see white people would hear Wesley and be like, he's a joke or whatever, and Jello is like drawing the dots between like him and suicide.
Oh, you mean Biafra?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that I find really interesting about this album, the reason why I do like it, is because for like an electronic album, it's like, if you're looking for fucking fun electronic music, get the fuck out now. This is not that.
Not here.
Yeah. And if you're looking for
Not here.
punk, not here. But what this album does for me is it works in a very experimental, disturbing, Throbbing Gristle kind of way for me. I don't know if you've heard Throbbing Gristle. Throbbing Gristle is a really early on experimental band. Very, very off-putting, disturbing, kind of like not non-music experimental, but it's like the soundtrack, the ambient soundtrack of a serial killer. I feel that kind of music is. I'm not listening to it for pleasure, but it does work for me in an artistic kind of way. Like, I'm not gonna go back to this because I like it, but there's something really fascinating about it, like a morbid fascination kind of way.
Mm-hmm. I like Ghostwriter.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good song. And then the other song I liked a lot was Cherie.
You like that one?
I do. It reminds me of like a character in a John Waters movie having a crush on someone. Just this weirdo that's really sincere and sweet, who's in love with someone way out of his league. And there was something like sweet and endearing about that song to me. It's
funny you say that, because a lot, that song included, but a lot of the songs in the discography, they just go full on over the top cheesy ballady kind of stuff with really funny, almost like Latin percussive sounds with the drum machine. So wait, let me put on a little bit of Cherie. Very church organ kind of melody right there.
Yeah. This is like this soundtrack to Ralph Wiggum's life when he asked Lisa out on a date. That's what it is. Yeah.
The very moment his heart breaks. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Like, I don't, what? I'm like, because I listened to this album like 3 times. I didn't hate it nearly as much on my 3rd time as I did on my first 2.
I listened to this album a lot because
you're trying to
like,
understand it, or like we're trying to understand
like,
what people
like. I don't like it, but that's not good enough.
Yeah.
So I think I might have listened to it like 5 times.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, dude, you don't have to like this album. No one has to like this album. I completely understand everyone hating this album, but like I said, I like it in ways that are not exactly musical. And also, we mentioned it when I was talking about 23 Minutes Over Brussels. The song Frankie Teardrop is a doozy of a fucking song. It is
10 minutes.
10 minutes, 26 seconds. It's hard to sit through. It's lyrically extremely disturbing. It's about a young guy losing it, murder-suiciding his family. Spoilers. And it doesn't do a whole lot, but as the song goes on and after he kind of finishes singing, these sounds kind of keep popping up really low in the mix. These like weird, almost ice cream truck sounds, and it's fucking creepy. It gets really uncomfortable the more it goes on. And whenever he like drops a bomb lyrically, he starts doing these weird screams that are way too loud that really fucking scare you. It is definitely an art piece. This song is like, oh yeah, I get it as a sound piece, not as a song, not as a musical thing. I don't want to fucking hear it again. Like this, it's really upsetting and it's not pleasant even a little bit. Not for everyone, but I respect the hell out of that song.
That's 50 minutes of my life I can't get back, Mike. Yeah, I think his dog yelps are kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what else to call them. It's just like, woo!
Yeah. Totally, dude.
Like,
I'm saying like Greg Sage does that on Youth of America a lot. And not in Youth America. Wait, on Youth America and Romeo on Over the Edge.
Oh yeah.
He does those woos a lot, and that's like I couldn't help but keep those like, oh, these guys for sure influence Wipers, at least with that little thing. I mean, they influenced them. I mean, listen to Youth of America, like all those things.
Yeah.
If those didn't come from Suicide, I have no idea where they came from.
But that's another thing is these songs don't really build to anything.
No.
Like after 30 seconds, that's the song.
That's a song. And some of them go on for too long. Some of them, I mean, it kind of alternates between, 2-minute songs and 4-minute songs and all that. And it gets worse as the albums go on, but some of them just don't fucking end. Frankie Teardrop, at least in this case, has that weird morbidity behind it and the really fucked up lyrical themes.
And it's the only song that like pushes it. The rest are, pretty reasonable, pretty it's a 30-minute album.
Yeah,
so
it's not that hard to sit through. Unless not for everyone. I can't stress that enough. Casual music listeners, beware. But if you're a nerd and you want to hear where it started and you like some Throbbing Gristle kind of stuff, I mean, if you like Throbbing Gristle, you know Suicide already. I feel like there's like 100% overlap. But proceed with caution. Crazy album.
It's an album I'm glad I listened to in the age of streaming, because for how much hype there is around it, and like on paper, it sounds like something I'm game for, but so it's an album I would have bought and been pissed off about. So
I remember this album. I think I heard it a few times when I was real young, because my brother, and whenever he decided to go in a deep dive of things. So I never really like sat down listening, but I think I do remember Frankie Teardrop from back in those days. So even though this is one of the most specific albums we've covered, I wasn't surprised by any of it when I went in. I was like, oh yeah, this sounds exactly what I was expecting. This is what I thought Suicide sounded like. So
I don't know what I had read that like put them in the same thing as Sparks. So I was like,
no way. No way.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Sparks is one of the greatest bands I think of all time. Also a duo, but they're closer to Queen than they are to anything else. Like they're an old, pageantry driven rock band that's fucking incredible. These guys are not. Pageantry, these guys have pageantry for sure, but that's where the similarities end. But
that was another thing they said in the interview is that when people go to rock shows, they go for a fantasy, but they gave people the streets, and that's why they rioted.
Was it Alan or Martin who said that? Because I remember that as well.
I think Martin said that.
Yeah, like they were. And here's the thing: I was gonna say this at a later album, but it kind of applies to damn near all of them. It's like Alan Vega sounds like a fucking homeless person on these songs. Like he's just shouting incoherently, and there's no like the rhythm of it is always kind of off a little bit, and it's like, how do you enjoy this? This is not good music, but it's not exactly the point. Like it's very punk in that sense where it's like, yeah, we're not trying to fucking Frank Mercury. What's his name? Freddie. I almost said. Okay, I said Frank Mercury and then Eddie Mercury and then didn't decide. Whatever, dude. I don't like Queen that much. But let's fucking move on. This is the second album. Okay, so on streaming, it's going to be under a different name. Originally, this album was called Suicide, Alan Vega and Martin Rev. But on streaming, it's now called the second album, and it's coupled with the first rehearsal tapes. So everyone streaming, this is the second album plus first rehearsal tapes, 1980.
A little more fleshed out.
Yep.
Still minimal,
but already heavier too. There's more bass, more low end. Production overall is obviously a lot better too.
Yeah, and this album has like an interesting story, I feel like. Not super interesting, but interesting for a band like Suicide.
That's a really hooky line. I really like that.
It's real strong songwriting on this album, I think.
I believe as well. So let's talk
best personal favorite.
best personal favorite. I love this album. I was like, whoa, these guys are good.
I might come back to this one, might add it to the collection.
Yeah.
Despite not liking the previous album, I really did enjoy this. So they this is produced by Rick Ocasek of the Cars.
Yeah.
Ocasek of the Cars. I believe he's the one who got them signed to this label Z.
Mm-hmm.
And the label like wanted them to sound like that Donna Summer song, I Feel Love.
Uh-huh.
Which I get seeing Suicide and picturing them as like a full-on dance band, but also like, why are you signing acts and you want them to be something they're not? It's very weird. It was also supposed to be produced, I'm gonna say his name wrong, but Giorgio Modor or
yeah,
not Modor. That's
I forgot. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna Google it right now because I know exactly what you're talking about. I fucking forgot.
But that guy is like the synth king.
Yeah,
like he's like the shit.
Giorgio Moroder. Fuck, man, it's a weird. Yeah, it's
a weird name to say, But yeah, that didn't end up happening, and thankfully Rick came in and produced it and was able to do something. I don't even want to call it a middle ground. I just think they're more fully formed here.
I think this is
and he produced it for free.
Really?
He bought them new instruments too. And
what a fucking saint, dude. God damn.
So it's like all these, I use the phrase all the time on the show, your favorite band's favorite band.
Yeah.
It's definitely Suicide.
I mean, the overlap between all the punk stuff and then Rick Ocasek and then Bruce Springsteen, and like,
it's wild.
It's fucking wild, man. And everything about this album is just, I feel, so superior to the first one. And then, I mean, obviously it's our best, so we like it the most out of everything they've done. But like compared to everything after, like here's what I feel like the world needed in 1980, because this feels ahead of its time. This feels fucking like the writing is so damn catchy, and even when it's cheesy and stupid, it's still fucking awesome. Like,
I think this was. I'm not even sure when New Wave started, but yeah, it's definitely in the early days of that and ahead of the game.
Which his name? Alan is doing. His vocals are still rough. They never stop being rough, but there's more actual singing on here, and it's not just weird, speak singing. He's doing some Nick Cave birthday party snarls and shouts, and this was before the birthday party started doing that. So there's some Nick Cave inspiration, I feel like, as well, because Mr. Ray, he sounds just like Nick Cave in the birthday party.
I wrote that down for other songs, but Mr. Ray is when it all clicked to me. There's this, it's a newer movie called Climax that's very interesting, and it's about a dance troupe, and someone slips some LSD and it turns into like a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like all these interesting subcultures in that movie, like voguing or other like dance forms. And they have like this opening dance number, and they're doing like this chanting thing in it. And I always thought it was like weird, and it stood out to me. And then on Mr. Ray, when he's doing like the doo-wop bop bop stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, holy shit, that's it. That's why they're doing it.
Interesting.
Because it's not a sample, but it's so similar. And then I started like seeing, all these things, Suicide influence on that song.
Well, I still don't think this is a perfect album, and I don't care much for Las Vegas Man, and I think Super Subway Comedian is, if you listen closely, it's just the bass line to Day Tripper from the Beatles, note for note.
Super Subway Comedian is one of the craziest fucking songs I've listened to.
I don't understand it. I don't understand.
I was laughing. I think he says like, "Watch out, man! You're gonna laugh."
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's so good.
And I was laughing. I don't know if that was like the purpose.
I don't know. It's wild though. It just fucking, I couldn't let go. Like the entire bassline is just Day Tripper. Mm-hmm. Like note for note, Day Tripper. da, 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 da. It's fucking bizarre. But those two aside, Touch Me is fucking fantastic. What's his name? Not what's his name. I wish I didn't like Bebop Kid as much as I do. It's so
good.
It's so stupid. I'm gonna put on Bebop Kid. It's so dumb. I love it though. God damn it. It's like a kid's party music, but it's fun.
Spider-Man's ass.
Might as well.
This is the story of a great
It's so fucking happy and
yeah.
I like it though, and it comes after Harlem, which
dude, Harlem is epic.
It's fucking crazy.
I love Harlem. That song is fucking crazy. I like the way he pronounces it too. It's real funny to me.
Harlem. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Holla guy from Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Chappelle show. Yeah, sounds just like that. And dude, the screams. He sounds like fucking Little John.
Yeah. But also, I think to have that type of music reflect, 70s crime-ridden Harlem is real interesting, because I think before that, it's like jazz and hip hop, and then here they picture this like, I'm sure this is before John Carpenter, so it's not even fair but like this John Carpenter soundscape to it that really like paints a great picture.
Surprisingly, I was really almost baffled by how much of this album works really well. And like, oh, this is thoroughly enjoyable. Shadaz. What the fuck is that? It's like this weird Latin sounding. I'm putting on Shadaz. It's just, I love it. I fucking love this song. Latin dance, electronic, experimental shit is what this is.
These guys should have been video game composers.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, I don't know about Alan Vega like yelling over, but like at least Rev.
Martin Rev would have killed it.
Yeah. This album is so fucking fun, man. I really like this album. God damn it.
And then I set it up earlier in the show. I'm gonna pull out the East LA Connection, Sweetheart.
Oh.
Yeah, that is for the East LA crowd right there. That's got what you need. It's got the lowrider oldies feel to it.
It does. Just a second. Here's a little bit of Sweetheart. Yeah. Oh man, so East LA.
And really, when I say lowrider oldies, I'm just talking about like 1950s.
Yeah, doo-wop. Yeah. They do that a lot. Oh man, it's a great progression there. They do. Oh, the song is good. God damn it.
Yeah.
This is great. I love this song. They do. They're clearly fans of old rock and roll and doo-wop. Because they just, yeah. And it's funny hearing music that I typically hate, which is doo-wop and rock and roll. Fucking not a fan. But here it played with these really silly sounding synths and keyboards. Like, that's just the coat of paint that I need. That's really all I need. Because I like it a lot here.
We talked a lot about like how Springsteen loves Dream Baby Dream.
Yep.
But before I found that out, I'm like, this sounds like some sort of Mark Mothersbaugh, Lou Reed fever dream. It's a wild track.
Dream Baby Dream. I really like it. It was so familiar to me when I first heard this album. I was like, what? Where the fuck have I heard this? I still don't know where I had to have heard it, but it's a good song. And here's a little taste of Dream Baby Dream.
Mike's secretly a Boss fan, and he's been to a lot of Springsteen.
Shut your fucking mouth right now, Alex. Shut your fucking mouth.
But that chord progression, it makes sense for Bruce.
It does. Yeah. I listened to a little bit of the Boss's version of it. Like, yep, this is a Boss song, man. God damn, I really like that bass line. Yeah, this I really like as much as we weren't talking shit about the first album, but we're very clear that it's not like musically pleasing. It's really rough and it's more crazy than it is like enjoyable. This is a fucking enjoyable album. I like this one. I think I would actually recommend this to people who like any kind of electronic music, especially if you're into Kraftwerk at all. This album is really, really fucking good.
I was surprised how much I liked it. And I was like, man, like, I knew it was going to get best personal favorite. And then it just kept holding up. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
same. Yeah. That for the first song, you kind of feel it like, oh, this is a lot better.
This is it. This is the one. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to keep going back to this one a lot for sure. Cause I don't know anything. I didn't know anything about the band aside from the first album. I mean, because I recognized the cover and everything, and I didn't hear a word about this one. So I was expecting.
It's always the first one that people talk about, and I get why. Yeah, it's the genesis of everything. But yeah, this one I think deserves some cred. Yeah,
hell yeah. Stand by that a lot. I don't know how much shit we're gonna get for that, but I kind of don't care, man. This is a good album. And more people should hear it for sure.
I mean, we have hot takes here and there. So
yeah. Fuck it. So let us move on. Finally, this is a beefier episode than I was expecting, honestly.
Same.
Yeah. This is 1988's A Way of Life.
Now we've gone like full-blown 80s production.
Full-blown 80s production, 8 years later, and it sounds as though Suicide has discovered reverb.
I kind of wish they didn't, but...
I agree.
This specific track, I was thinking about hip-hop music and how they probably listen to some like Eric B. and Rakim and Run DMC.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that like we did, like we're listening to them one after the other. It's really, at least it was easy for me to forget that this is 8 fucking years later. They're no longer pioneering stuff. Things have existed for a minute now.
Yeah, now they're not really. They're trying to be ahead of the game, but they aren't anymore, and it's.
It shows.
It's probably insanely hard to do as an artist. So,
I would say if you do it once, that's remarkable.
Yes,
And that's
to do it your whole career, insane.
good.
So,
Fucking
yeah.
no way. And that's why this is my worst.
Really?
Yeah. This
no
one.
way.
Yeah.
If we did rankings, this is a strong number 2 for me.
Whoa! Wasn't expecting that. Was not expecting that.
If I'm going, I might even revisit. I'm debating if I want to revisit this one, but if there is a second album that I'm willing to listen to again on my own free time, this one.
Unbelievable. I am very surprised. This one was, man, the drop off from this one to the from the last one to this one. I felt like, oh fuck, this is gonna be rough. This next few albums are gonna be rough. I
didn't notice it here. I noticed it eventually, but I didn't think it was here.
I was really thrown off by this one. So the reason why, like, it was between this and another one that I was debating worst, and the reason why I chose this one is because, like, it's just such a huge, like, where I thought they were going one way. There's a huge gap in their career, and they come back with something that is not even a little bit interesting to me. And like the things I do like on here, they're so like almost accidental. Like the song Surrender, which
that's like Sweetheart. That's the Lowrider Oldies song on here.
Surrender it uses the fucking awful doo-wop chord progression, and the doo-wop chord progression for music theory nerds is 1-6-4-5. So for when you're looking at a scale, I'm gonna do a little music theory stuff. I'm really bad at this part of it, but I do know a little bit. Each note in whatever scale has a number attached to it, or it's usually Roman numerals attached to it, and you kind of organize those numbers, in different progressions. If you Google 1-6-4-5 in Roman numerals, you'll get YouTube videos of all the fucking songs that use this chord progression, and there's countless. And this particular progression is known as the doo-wop one, because every fucking doo-wop song used. I'm gonna play it, just the beginning of it, so you know what I'm talking about. This is Surrender. That's the 1. That's 6.
This is
That's
totally
4. And then it ends with 5. Yeah, that's what that is. Oh, Donna. Oh, Donna. Yeah, that's what that is. It's been used 500 million thousand times.
And in every David Lynch movie, TV show ever.
Yep. And here's the thing. I like this song, even though I fucking hate those chords. And it's because the presentation is so big, spacey. The female vocals on here sound really good. And it's presented in a way that kind of compensates for the fact that I hate those chord progressions. So it's like an accidental enjoyment of that. And then the other song I like is Dominic Christ, which I only like it because it's like cool in a Beverly Hills Cop kind of way. It reminds me of like an 80s movie.
With a name like that, you would think it would sound evil, sinister, maybe like Harlem. But like you said, it's Beverly Hills Cop wackiness.
And this is Dominic Christ right here.
Man, that bass is out of control.
It's cool though.
Oh no,
Fuck. Yeah, you know what the song sounds like to me a little bit? Theme for a Jackal by the Misfits.
Oh yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. I think Suffering in Vain has some really cool sounds. However,
I think there's some good screams on there.
Yeah. Dude, I like the soundscapes they're doing. It's really kind of fucking brooding and dark. However, it's real long and it gets old real fast to me. And then after that, I do not like anything else on this album. Howdy.
You're crazy, because Reign of Ruin.
Oh,
I love that song.
You love that song.
That song was just instantly good to me.
Holy
instantly
shit.
Liked it for whatever reason. I think it's real good. On Jukebox Baby 96, I like It makes me laugh the way he says jukebox. It sounds like he's saying Juba baby.
Yeah. It does sound like that. Oh, fuck. I hate both those songs.
And then
Go ahead.
the other banger on here for me is Devastation. If I drove around an old beat up black Cadillac, this would be the song playing out of the car while I holler at ladies and get slapped with some sort of lawsuit.
So let's hear what Alex's jail song is. This is Devastation.
This is my jail song. It's real sleazy.
Yeah.
Let me holler at you.
It is pretty holla. Yeah, I get it. That little riff in itself isn't so bad. And much of the problem I have with all this, because I didn't know that I didn't hate the song at all. It's just if I do find something I like, my God, does it not end? It starts to drag and fucking drag, and
I didn't feel it on this album.
Really,
you're copying what I'm going to say
for the next the next stuff. So Jukebox Baby 96. I hate the production on this album. It's so every song is gigantic and echoey, and the reverb is cranked the fuck up.
Also, still produced by Rick O'Casey.
Really, that's disappointing. Yeah. It sounds weird, and I personally don't like the way it meshes with the band. So Jukebox Baby 96 is Juba Baby 96 is so rock and roll silly. And the way it meshes with this giant, big reverb production, it just fucking weird to me. And it just like where earlier it had like the charm of like a Casio kind of charm where it's like, oh, this is weird novelty sounding stuff. Here it just sounds like fuck. Well, here this is Jukebox Baby. I'm mushing the word the way he is inadvertently. Jukebox Baby 96.
They should spell it phonetically.
They should.
Rock and roll.
Like there's so the amount of echo on here is disorienting.
It's out of control.
It's out of control. Yeah. Also, the Elvis thing that he does is fucking hard. I can't get behind it.
I think he was a fan of Elvis.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Juba baby. That's pretty funny.
It's like a solid B horror movie to me, and but musically,
right?
Like the same way people watch like B movies.
So this album, first of all, I found it boring, which is one of the biggest reasons I couldn't get behind it. But like, there was no quirkiness or kind of unintentional creepiness or scariness the way the first two albums kind of had. Like these songs sound like fairly straightforward electronic music that's just weird, whereas the other ones had this kind of like underlying morbidity to it and kind of like, that's kind of awful when like it seems kind of scary. Like
sure,
this doesn't have very much of that. And the reason why I went with this one as worse over another one is because it kind of ends with a thud. Whereas I feel like other stuff kind of at least ends with something a little bit stronger. So like I didn't realize this album ended the few times I listened to it. I was like, oh, I guess it's over then. Like I just kind of tuned out because it loses so much steam toward the end. And that's kind of what it does. If I don't want to immediately hear an album again, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not into this one. So it's not like obvious worst. I don't think it's an obvious worst album, but it's just the one I felt I didn't want to go back to the most.
I think you're fucking crazy considering what's coming up, but all right, fine.
All right. I'm excited for the next ones. All right. This is 1992's Why Be Blue.
This is probably what the label wanted 12 years ago.
Right.
It sound like Dumb Summers.
So if you listen to this little melody, I'm gonna refresh your memory. If it didn't hit you, that is the very same melody as the Mortal Kombat theme. Dun 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 dun. Yeah. Not there, but
imagine Suicide doing the Mortal Kombat theme. I guess it would just be this.
it would be this, dude. It would be fucking crazy. Okay. So, Alex, what do you think about this?
This is hands down. I don't even know how it's not your worst. It's my worst, least favorite. This
I get it.
This is an abomination, and like I said, you were stealing a lot of things I wanted to say. This is when I was like, oh my god, the reverb. Holy shit.
Really? This one? Really?
Yeah, I think it's fucking out of control here. All the, everything has reverb on it. The drums, the synths, the vocals. So any, interesting vocal things he would have done previously, like his barking or just being a weirdo, is this under this layer of monotonous, same BPM song. It's the same song, start to finish.
For the most part. So the reverb is still bad. I thought so the way I listen to these albums, I listen to them instead of doing two listens. I listen to each one once and then I repeated it. So I listen to them back to back, and doing that, I guess the echo on this album is not as jarring. It's still bad, but I think I may be mistaken, but I think I like the song "Play the Dream," but I think that song had significantly less reverb on it. Whereas, you know what? I'm gonna play it just to refresh your memory. This is "Play the Dream."
All right.
Yeah. So this bass line alone already doesn't have any reverb on it. This song is the reason I'm like, oh, okay. It's not every song that's covered in echo.
If you want an example of an out of control one, Cheat Sheet. Holy shit.
Oh, okay. Here's Cheat Sheet.
Specifically the drums. God damn.
It's a lot, but I don't feel like it's any more than the last album. The last album really has so much.
I don't know. And
this song fucking sucks, by the way. But
this is an awful fucking song. I was listening to it, and then I was like, Jesus Christ, does this song end? And then I looked up, and I was 3 minutes in a Mojo because I didn't realize Cheat Sheet had ended and Mojo began.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I need to get it together. Let me focus on this. And then Pump It came on, and I'm like,
worst.
I'm done.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a long night listening to this album.
I will give you that. The entire first half of this album is rough. Like it starts out bad, and it holds that badness for the fucking while. I like Play the Dream. And here's the thing. I like Play the Dream for this album. I don't like it for a Suicide song. I don't like it like in the grand scheme. I'm not going to pick it as one of my favorite songs of this, but just compared to the first 5 songs, it's like, oh, okay, something I can grab onto. Go ahead.
The only song that stuck out to me was Hot Ticket, and even then, it's not a great song.
No, it's fucking ridiculous.
It's just goofy and silly enough to stand out from the monotony of everything else.
It's goofy as shit, dude. But I like Flashy Love because to me, it's sleazy cocaine night music. And that is enough to sell me. And then also, I dig Universe. You don't like it. Thing is, I like those 2 songs enough, and it ends with those 2 songs. Therefore, that's why I did not pick this as worst, because at least it ends without a bitter taste in my mouth. Where the other one was like, oh, fucking okay, good, it's over.
I had a bitter taste start to finish.
I don't blame you, but also a side note, I don't know if it happened with you, but both Flashy Love and Universe had a ton of skipping on the versions I listened to.
Yes.
I don't know if it's an Apple thing, but because I tried 2 different versions of this album, and both versions there was a lot of skipping on it.
Okay, maybe that's just the way the tracks got transferred.
That sucks. That's an injustice. That sucks. Because that's really the only 2 songs I like on the album, and they're like full of skipping. So I'm not worried about going back to this one. I didn't like it, and I really honestly felt like it was as bad as the one before it. Like it was just picking. It came down to almost logic, which one I felt was worse. And the logic to me was at least this one ends with 2 songs I'm okay with, whereas the other one was like it's 2 songs scattered, and I fucking hated the rest.
You're crazy. Fucking crazy.
Both of these albums are not great to me. This one is it's just as bad as the one before it, honestly, to me.
I feel like we started off agreeing, and then in the middle we're disagreeing, and then on this last album I feel like we're gonna come back together.
We're gonna come back. I think we're gonna come back. But This is a crazy fucking band, dude. It's such a weird. This is one of the weirdest bands we've covered. Like,
it's so, and a lot of people hate this next album too. And so, this by process of elimination, I'm surprised neither of us don't have the animosity for it.
Yeah, dude. I don't understand what it is about our musical opinions that is so different from the Lex. I don't know if lexicon's the right word. It's probably not. But the common music culture or whatever music fans are called. But God damn it, this is how we feel. That second album is way better than the first one, and we're gonna talk some not that much shit about the next album, I bet. So let's move on to fucking 10 years later. This is 2002's American Supreme. Whoa. Them some record scratching. Whoa.
That was surprising.
Very.
I was like already better than anything on the last album. But is every song gonna be like this? That was my concern.
Funky.
I like this song more than I should, I think. Even older and more deranged.
Man, those vocals are fucking weird.
Yeah.
So this is a hip hop track, but with
pretty much
a maniac on vocals, not rapping or really singing.
Still love that reverb though.
This is he's doubled down on the reverb, added a ton of delay as well. And this is kind of the song, really. Like, it doesn't go through some giant shift. It's just a lot of that.
Yeah, that song kind of works for me. This is the first album since their debut not to be produced by Rick. He pretty much produced the bulk of their albums, but not this one. Yeah, this album caught some flack.
What happened with this album? Because, I mean, it's quite a huge gap between the last one and this one.
I couldn't really find out why or what happened, but I think people wanted, like they were saying, people have now, after they have clout now in the 90s, people started recognizing them. I think people wanted, that minimalist electronic stuff.
First album, they wanted the first album, basically.
Yeah, but to me, listening to that interview, it's not that they're minimalist. It's that they're trying to project into the future. They're trying to make what music will sound like in the future now. And I think they kind of did that here, because this sounds more like something that would be in like 2012 to me than 2002.
It's
not that it's an amazing thing, but I think their mission of being futurist was very much accomplished on here.
I don't know how I feel about that because I'm not super familiar with 2012 music unless it's like Swans or something, something that's not exactly, in the mainstream. But one thing I really appreciated, because like obviously I'm not a huge fan of the opening track, but it was already so much more interesting and strange than anything in the past two albums. I was like, I'm on board. I'm on board with this.
Yeah.
And then because this is a pretty lengthy album, it's like the longest album, about 50 something minutes, 51 minutes. And
the songs are way too long.
The songs
that's the biggest issue. I think
the songs are way too long, but they're so unpredictable. They tackle so many different weird things on here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and probably say my favorite song on the album is Misery Train.
Really?
Dude, it's a morbid Macarena. That's what that song is. It's
all right.
Like, it's so weird. And it's like, it's so silly and like the Macarena that at a certain point it starts to be weirdly disturbing to me. Like,
okay.
I'm putting it on right now because I really like this song for some reason.
Macarena vibes.
For sure, Macarena vibes. So like immediately it's like, yeah, it's Macarena, but like in a minor key, and it's all right. It's kind of silly and dancey, but it goes on. And I like that this song is so long. It's like 5 minutes or 5 minutes and a half. As this thing keeps repeating and going on and on, it's like, this is weird, dude. What the fuck is this? And it kind of starts to get into your brain a little bit. Like, that's not right. This is not right. I like that. It's fucking weird. Good ass song, man.
I did have some peaks and valleys on here, like Swearing to the Flag. I had terrible, awful Vietnam flashbacks of the previous album. That song made me worried.
Yeah.
Begging for Miracles, you got some of that like New Jack swing on it, which is the most popular song, or at least to me, is Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison.
Oh, right. Well, what I liked about Begging for Miracles is it has legit ass bass fuzz on there. Like Melvin's Boris caliber bass fuzz. Like, fuck yeah, dude. It doesn't sound anything like those bands, but the bass definitely does.
Wrong Decisions. I think they sampled the same horns that Wu-Tang did on Shame.
It's funny you say that because I wrote that song should be an awesome Public Enemy song. Like it has that era, that late 80s, early 90s hip hop era all over it.
Yeah, I think it is the same horns. I should have tried to do more research, but it sounds very similar to it. Death Machine has to be like the most techno song we've covered on this podcast. It is.
I'm putting it on now because when you say the most techno song, I'm like, more than Tour de France by Kraftwerk?
More than Tour de France, I think.
This is Death Machine. Yeah, you're right. Fuck, dude. Yeah. I was wondering why I forgot this song. Now it's hitting me.
That's it.
That's really it. That's the song.
That's the song.
So, at a certain point, I really had to note. I literally wrote down verbatim, this band is so fucking crazy because American Mean, it's really Suicide in a nutshell, like conceptually, because it's totally an early 2000s dance track, but with just a homeless man yelling over it. It's fucking. It's so weird. This band is so weird. Like, I really appreciate them. It's so fucking. I would never listen to this for pleasure. It's just,
no, this isn't. Yeah, this isn't like an album you throw on for fun, or even because it's good.
Yeah,
it's just kind of if you're fascinated with suicide.
Yeah, and I honestly am, which is why I do still like a lot of this. I think unironically I do like Child It's a New World a lot. I think that's a solid song too.
For that song, and you can apply it to a lot of other ones. Child It's a New World. That's some prime video game menu music right there. Perfect.
Let's do it. This is it right here. Yeah.
Dude, this is gonna be on the like Marvel vs. Capcom 4 soundtrack.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah. It's really fucking groovy. I dig it. However, obviously this is not a perfect album when we're saying shit like don't listen to this for pleasure.
It's not.
Yeah. And I also think that I Don't Know, the song I Don't Know is a pretty weak closer for such a beefy, spastic album.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I mean, it's decent. It's just fucking weird though. That's the draw of it. It's just, where's it going to go next?
Yeah, it's just, it's weird, and to me, it's in their character.
Yeah,
I don't get why people fucking hated it.
I'm surprised that people hated it. Like, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised by anything these days with reactions to stuff, especially art. But I mean, they've always been fucking weird. What are we expecting them to do the same kind of weird?
Yeah, to me, a band like this has set them up to do anything where like you shouldn't really be surprised.
It's insane. Like it happens all the time where bands or artists get put in a box, and even if it's a really innovative box, it's still they're still expected to continue that trend. But some are let off the hook for it. Like a deer hoof is let off the hook for not staying in the same box. Melvins are let off the hook for not Swans, bands that. But the thing is, others are like discouraged for it, and it's like all of metal is discouraged from deviating. It seems fucking haphazard, dude. I don't understand. Like, do you want innovation or do you not? I don't know. Fuck you, public. What do you want?
Fans are the worst.
The worst.
Including myself.
Yeah.
If a band ever stumbles across me talking about their band, don't listen to me. Keep doing you.
Honestly, like, yeah, I mean, who fucking cares, dude? Like, as a guy who makes music, if you like it, cool. But if you don't, I'm not going to make it differently because someone doesn't like it. Like, how would I do that? How would I... Who cares? I don't know, man. So I appreciate how fucking weird it is. I appreciate how completely wacky it is. Not gonna go back to it, I don't think. But
sure,
I think it was man, I'm glad they went out on this album than either the previous two. Fucking crazy.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. Except not that I thought.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know these albums' names.
A Way of
anymore.
Life. Yeah.
A Way of Life is bad. But I agree. I think that's what we agree on. Way better to go out on this note than Why Believe.
Yeah.
Why Be Believe.
I'm curious to Alan Vega's and Martin Rev's solo stuff, because I mean there's huge gaps between Suicide albums and they're active the whole time. I'm sure it's weird, and that's about all I'm sure of.
Yeah. Who knows what you're gonna get?
I'm afraid, honestly. So do you know any of the reasons why they were so random with their releases? What happened after this one?
I do not, because the extent of my research on here was the one interview in Wikipedia, and it's not really covered. Wikipedia, I know they kept playing shows and their last was in 2015. And then Mr. Vega died in his sleep 2016.
Yeah. That was
I'm glad. I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm glad they got their shine on towards the end of their life, or in their old age, and good for them.
And honestly, whether or not you like them, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that if you're listening to this, you don't like them, unless you're Cyrus and you asked us to listen to them. We definitely needed them to get a bunch of shit that we do like, for damn sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird how influences shape things. And even if you hate the original, boy, does some crazy shit come out of it.
If you go on their wiki page and you go to the legacy section, there's a million bands in there. A million bands. So
it's wild, man. Like reading the interviews and like, you know, obviously listen to that old recording and then reading about their live shows. It's like these dudes are so fucking inspiring. Like that fortitude to just be up there while everyone is not only, because I've been playing on stage and people are just indifferent and they don't care and they're ignoring you, and that's fucking that's hard. That's hard to push through. But when they're hating you and spitting on you and screaming at you to fucking kill yourself and to leave the stage, that's a whole new level of like, these guys are fucking awesome. Like to be able to go through that, and like clearly they're not the only ones. Anybody who kind of steps out of any comfort zone of an audience will get that. I remember I think it's a known instance of, I think it was Prince opening for the Rolling Stones, I want to say, and he was just boo to high hell and they were throwing stuff at him and it was like a horrible thing. And I think my mom was there. She's the one who told me that, but I'm pretty sure it's like a known event. And yeah, it's just because that crowd was not fucking ready to hear some Prince. Like it's just to be able to push through that and persevere, even though it's really one of the most humiliating and devastating and painful things you can go. Like it's public humiliation on a massive scale. And these dudes went through it for years and the riots and the violence. And one thing I forgot to mention with the 23 minutes over Brussels recording is at the end of that night, the end of that riot, Alan Vega did come out of it with a broken nose at least. So like, it's not like they weren't getting hurt, you know?
Yeah. In the interview I saw, he was like, every night he was like, I'm going to die. I'm going to fucking die.
Yeah.
Tonight's the night. He genuinely believed that.
And I'm kind of pissed off at myself that I'm barely remembering at the end of the episode, but he would bring bike chains on, like motorcycle chains on stage with him. And what he would do was, whenever he felt the crowd turning, he would start cutting himself and hitting himself to make himself seem fucking crazy so that the audience would question whether or not to attack him. Like that was literally a method that he said that he did. To like a self-preservation method, literally cutting yourself to scare the audience into not attacking you. I couldn't even, my brain would never go there. I'm a giant bitch, dude. I would never do that. That's fucking amazing. Like the amount of respect I have for these guys is fucking crazy.
And yeah, there's another random thing that you'd see someone like Gigi Allen do.
Yeah. Although I do think he was mentally ill. I think that was far more on that side. But Suicide, man, what a band. What a crazy fucking band. I'm glad we tackled them.
If your band, if the crowd wants to fight you and people spit on you on stage, then we want to cover your band on this podcast.
Fuck yeah.
Because that is an ongoing theme.
Dude, fucking Minutemen. They went through it. And dude, and it's funny if you compare a band like the Minutemen episode 16, who got spat on and attacked and stuff, to a band like Suicide, Minutemen are not nearly as innovative, or like I love the Minutemen. I think they're a much better band musically, and I'll die for the Minutemen. But in terms of like showing a group of people what they don't want to hear, these guys did a far more dangerous thing.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I guess we'll wrap it up now. Recap.
Best personal favorite is Suicide. Alan Vega and Martin Rev.
AKA on streaming, the second album.
Worst, least favorite, YB Blue. Don't ever fucking listen to that. Anybody.
Hey Alex, why Blue? Why be Blue, dude? Is it because it's a bad album? That's probably why.
It's a bad album.
Same as Alex, personal favorite, as well as what I think their objectively best album is Suicide, Alan Vega, and Martin Rev. But you'll find it everywhere as the second album plus the first rehearsal tapes. I don't know why they changed the name of the album on streaming. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it's great. Listen to that one. And worst and least favorite, A Way of Life, 1988. I know he disagrees, okay, but I thought it was very boring. It's very lot of reverb. Didn't care for it. I mean, those middle albums are kind of rough. Like compared to what they were and then what they became, it's like, oh, this is a strange period in music, like to sound like this. Although I guess it's their entire career. They're a very strange band, as we've tackled in extensive detail. But anyway, thank you, Cyrus, for suggesting this artist. I can't believe they weren't on the list. Like I'm almost embarrassed that they weren't on the list because this is perfect.
Were they not?
I don't think they were, dude. I really don't think they were. I'm
disappointed. As someone who's built out 80% of that list,
I would say you've done
upset.
95% of that list. That's a big list. I did not do most of this. But it was fun. And I thank you again for listening and fucking suggesting that stuff. Keep emailing your suggestions, everyone. And if you want to support us, subscribe on YouTube, fucking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the things, and please, more importantly, follow me on Instagram at Pope Jesse Ventura and Alex at
Mother Puncture.
The gaps between when we record and when the episode releases are getting narrower because we keep falling behind. So pretty much we're going to post what artists we're covering and just fucking send us emails, your thoughts on the artist, general thoughts, maybe your personal favorite, your best album, your worst, whatever. And we'll read on the pod if if it's substantial enough and if it's good. I'm sure it'll be good. But last plug of the day is the Spotify playlist full of suicide songs that you can find in the description of wherever you're listening or watching. We got playlists associated with every single episode, so be sure to go to everyalbumever.com to check all those out. Or you can just follow Alex on Spotify through the link, cut out the middleman. So I did not once think about a last song for some reason.
Weird.
However, I think I do have one in mind. If you got one in mind as well, that is also good.
I mean, I'll give it to you, but I feel like we universally came together for Mr. Ray. If that wasn't the one you were going to pick,
it wasn't. But I think that's even better. So we are going to end it off with Mr. Ray. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. See ya.